Congressman, have you, first off, on this idea that Catherine Rogers was raising, that taxpayers will see this immediately next year, assuming it's passed before Christmas, in their tax tables, in their paychecks early next year. That's a pretty quick turnaround. Is that true?
It is. It's a very quick turnaround, and that's the reason why we're making sure that we do everything we can do on our side, and we're encouraging the Senate to do the same.
All right. Now, does that include changing this tax deductibility kind of position on those who pay state and local taxes for high tax states, New York, California, Massachusetts? You've heard the drill. They're going to get hit hard, and it's going to dwarf whatever savings they're getting, even doubling the deduction and all of that thing. What do you say?
You know what? We have really been working very hard with those who have high state and local taxes and looking at those that even itemize, it's district by district. And there are some, obviously, in the really high areas, right in New York City. But when you start taking a look further out in New York, further out in Illinois, you have a great number of people that don't even use itemized deductions. The fact of the matter is that these states that have these high costs really have to consider whether that's something they want to continue doing. I live in a state with a low tax. We have people crawling into our state every day. About 100 are moving into Nashville. So at some point in time, as we look here at the federal level to say, what is fair? Is it fair for the people in New York and New Jersey and other high tax states like California for them to be able to write that off on their taxes, and yet the states that are keeping the taxes low for their individuals don't get that same parity? And I think that's something that's going to have to be looked at as we look at the parity across our country on tax reform.
Well, I certainly hear that. You know, the rap you get from those same states, Congressman, is that they give more to Washington than they ever get back from Washington. Who knows? It is what it is. But I did want to get your sense of this $10,000 ceiling on property taxes, that's a movable figure. We've heard from a number of senators already this morning who have talked about the idea that maybe that number could jump a little bit. Maybe that's something the Senate does. What do you think of that?
Well, we're in regular order, and in regular order there are amendments that can be offered. There can be changes made. I don't know what all the Senate is looking at right now. The important thing to know is that when you start moving these numbers around, you won't move one dial, you're going to have to dial somewhere else. And our whole emphasis has been on making sure that the lower and the middle income truly get a tax break. And when you start doing that, you start getting to the point where you cannot give the kind of breaks you want. You want to make sure that businesses are operating where they want to stay in this country. So there are a lot of moving parts, and I'm just really concerned that if we start messing with that, and it's been pretty good with where we have gotten it, and actually a number of our colleagues really feel like we're in a sweet spot right here. So I don't want to move it around too much.
I'm sorry, Congressman. The reason why I didn't mention it is a number of your colleagues from those high-tax states are the first to say, wait a minute. Now you hear the Mortgage Industry Association, realtors, they're not happy with this. Home builders, they think that this is going to be damaging to their industry, especially this move now to eventually say on new mortgages, you cap it at $500,000, no longer $1 million, and that they see the tax incentives for owning a home slipping away. You say?
I say, look, when people have more money in their pocket, they're going to spend more money, and they're going to have more money to buy a larger home. They're going to have more money to buy more products. And I always tell people when there is a new sale of either a good or a service, that means that you're going to provide a job for someone else. They're going to have more money in their pocket. They're going to do the same thing, buy more goods and services. So I just want to let everybody just kind of settle down and let us get through this process and see how the economy grows. We saw it happen back during Reagan in 1986, and I think that if we just settle down a little bit and everybody take a breath, we're going to see that this is a good thing at the end of the day. You know, the details are just getting out there.
That's true.
A lot more details to be understood, and I think once we get people understanding a little bit more, that maybe things will calm down. But it's going to be a rough ride. Anytime you take something away, you have winners and losers. It's a rough ride.
We're hearing from all sides. Congressman, thank you very, very much. Very good seeing you.